Now, welcome back, and let us continue with our conversation on making education accessible for deaf children. With me earlier, like I said, we have Rhoda Kabiti, who is the CEO, Kenya Society for Deaf Children. And during the break, we were talking about awarding these students in whatever way, plus including sponsorships. Of course, this is something that we rarely see deaf children being awarded scholarships, right? Yes. So how should we fill in this gap? How should we also enable that these sponsorships can also remember the disabled?
Thank you, Grace. What I need to say is that even people living with disability, those children, get scholarships. But as people living with disability, what I would request is, it is very, very difficult for a deaf child to score as well as the regular schools, as a deaf, a blind student, or a physically challenged. What I would want to say is, when the sub-counties are rewarding the schools that have done so well, they also need to look at the disability, but as per discipline. If they have other schools in their county or in their sub-county, they look at the child who did very well, who is blind, they award. The child who did very well, who is physically challenged, they reward. They look at the child who did very well, a deaf child, and they reward, without grouping them as persons living with disability. Because if they do that, the deaf may end up not getting really an award in the near future. Because when you teach in sign language, they learn, I should accept that, but they don't perform as well as the blind or the physically challenged. So what I would say is, even the corporates, Wings to Fly and the like, and the family bank foundations, all those foundations, when they are also giving scholarships, the blind and the physically challenged may, and they do, score as well as the regular children. But the deaf may not score to that mark that they want. We would request them also to have a space for deafness, to award also scholarship. I remember one time, KCB Foundation in the county I was teaching, I went to them and requested them to sponsor also a girl who had scored 213 marks in our school. And they were very happy, and they gratefully sponsored this girl through secondary school. I think it is lack of that awareness.
So people need to push for them as well.
They need to push. The corporates and the sponsors also need to be made aware that there is a difference between a deaf, a blind, and a physically challenged child. So that when they group, they don't group us all together. They go per discipline of disability. And in that way, also the deaf child will feel included. Because when they go there and they see that they are also in that group of Wings to Fly that is being rewarded for doing well, they will know they have also worked hard and they have done their best. So we would also request for more awareness to the groups that give scholarships. Yes.
Now, let us talk about the new curriculum, CBC,
yes,
and the deaf. How is it going with them?
I would say this is the best thing that has ever come to Kenya, because the deaf child is very good when working hands-on. We may not be very able to do it academically that far, and very few people have gone academically far in the deaf space. But when it comes to things that they have done. I should have brought you things that the deaf do and see that they can really do it. With this CBC, you see the deaf excel so much that you may not believe they are the same people that have not been scoring so well, because they are really good in doing things that they can do themselves. Carpentry, even the beans, even the drawing, the coloring, the art of drawing, they do very well. What they don't do very, very well, but they dance, is music. Music, they will dance, they will do many things, but you know, they follow the rhythm from the beat of the drums. But when it comes to do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, they will not be able to do that. But I want to tell you, CBC is good. They will learn from the ground, from play group, through PP1, PP2, grade 1, 2, 3, and at the end of the day, when the grading has been done, I can assure you the deaf will be excelling in that part.
Of course, because you know now the grading system is different.
Yes.
Do you think now this is more advantageous to them?
Oh yes, oh yes.
Because they're graded per what?
Because they will be graded per what they have done.
Yes.
And I can assure you, the deaf in the practical things, and they will go through that way, even to the technicals and all that, they will do well. And we are looking forward to that time when the first group has done, when they go to the senior school and do all those things, we are really looking forward to see how they are going to perform in their area. Yes.
And is there any challenge that has been faced in regards to CBC in these institutions?
Not really, because teachers are teachers.
Yeah.
They are not discriminated upon when they go for the training of CBC subjects. So they are at par with the rest of the teachers in the other schools. There's only that those teachers in special schools will go an extra mile to make sure the children have really understood, because they don't grasp as quickly as the regular child. But now it will be the duty of the teacher in a special school, and that is why they are given special schools allowance, to be able to get to the root of the subjects and let the children know.
All right, perhaps as we almost wrap up, what are the milestones that the society has achieved so far in regards to fighting for the deaf in the society? One of the things that I'll tell you is that we have gaps, lack of early intervention, as I told you, at the school to access the quality education which is expected. Those are some of the gaps, the poverty with their parents. And our recommendations are widespread. We didn't want to have the parents and the community be aware of the deaf space. We are fighting for that. We are doing that. We also want the government also to, we thank them because they gave us technical TVET institutions, but we want more, even with a vocational training sponsored by the government, so that the parents who are not able to take their children to the faraway TVET colleges, like we have one at Karen Technical Institute for the Deaf. We have one in Sikri. Sikri is in Nyanza. We have a blind one, one for the blind in Machakos. If they are not able to do that, let us also have in the counties where they are, at least vocationals which are sponsored by the government, just like any other school. Then we shall be able to bridge that gap. We want to bridge that gap where children have not performed
this or are not doing this because they are not able to do, not because they are not able to do, but because they have not been facilitated to do that. What was it again about? A mobile clinic, as I said, will be another advantage to the children, to the parents, to the children, to the community. And that's why from the very beginning I said we need awareness for the parents, awareness to the communities, to include the deaf. So KSDC, as we call it, Kenya Society for Deaf, we have sponsored over 70 children, 70,000 learners, as I said. We have carried out extensive research to make sure that we know really the number that we have in this country, even after the 2019 census, to provide thousands of hearing aids. We do fit hearing aids. And we have fitted so many children. And at this particular moment, I want to tell you, not every child will benefit from a hearing aid, Grace. And that is why we do assessment, to find out the degree of hearing loss that each child has. Because some who are profoundly deaf will not be able to benefit from a hearing aid. But children who have some residual hearing, they can benefit from hearing aids. And that's why, even with that mobile clinic, when we go out there and find children with hearing loss which can benefit from the hearing aid, we fit them, and we even tell the parents to take them to a regular school so that they can fit in inclusive. We have also trained very many parents, as I said before, and these are some of the efforts that the society is putting forward. Right now, we have also opened a fully licensed clinic, which is called Dechi Hearing Center, that is deaf children, in our premises, in our offices. And this will go a long way in finding out, assessing, and even placing children in their respective schools.
Right.
Yes. And then all of us, I would say, should be able to learn sign language, you and I and everybody else.